A plane explodes at 33,000 feet. A teenager falls into the Amazon rainforest. A climber is left for dead on Mount Everest. Every law of physics, every rule of survival says these people should not be here. But somehow, they lived. If stories of impossible survival fascinate you, subscribe to Decade Data, because sometimes reality is far stranger than fiction. Because sometimes survival isn't about strength. Sometimes it's instinct. Sometimes it's luck. And sometimes it defies everything we understand about death. A passenger plane explodes at 30,000 feet. Inside the falling wreckage is a young flight attendant named Vesna Vulović. The aircraft disintegrates in mid-air over Czechoslovakia. Passengers are thrown into the freezing sky, but Vesna is trapped inside a section of the fuselage as it plummets toward the ground. The wreckage crashes into a snow-covered mountainside. No one expected anyone to survive. She suffers multiple fractures and a skull injury. Yet somehow, she survives. To this day, Vesna Vulović holds the world record for the highest fall ever survived without a parachute. But surviving a fall from the sky isn't the only impossible story. Sometimes survival begins after the crash. A commercial plane is struck by lightning over the Amazon rainforest. It is 1971. The aircraft begins to break apart in midair. A 17-year-old girl named Juliane Koepcke was still strapped to her seat when she fell. She plunged nearly 2 miles into the jungle. When she woke up, everyone else was gone. With a broken collarbone and severe injuries, she walked alone through the rainforest. Most people would not last a single night. For 11 days, following a small stream that eventually led to civilization. Against every probability, she survived. Yet some survival stories happen when escape is impossible, and the only way out is unthinkable. A climber is hiking alone through Utah's remote Blue John Canyon. His name is Aron Ralston. It is 2003. A falling boulder trapped his arm against the canyon wall. No phone signal. No one knew where he was. For 5 days, he tried to free himself. Eventually, he realized something terrifying. Rescue was not coming. The only way to survive was to amputate his own arm. Using a small, dull knife, he cut through bone and muscle. Then he climbed out of the canyon and walked to safety, a decision that saved his life. But sometimes survival doesn't depend on one person. Sometimes it depends on an entire group refusing to die. A plane carrying a rugby team crashes high in the Andes Mountains. It is 1972. The survivors were stranded in freezing conditions with almost no supplies. Rescue teams searched for days, then gave up. For 72 days, the survivors fought starvation, avalanches, and brutal cold. Eventually, 2 of them climbed out of the mountains and found help. 16 people were rescued. One of the most extraordinary survival stories in history. And somehow the final story may be the strangest of all. Because this man was declared dead on the world's highest mountain. A climber sits alone in the snow high on Mount Everest. No oxygen, no shelter, no team. Just hours earlier, he had been declared dead. His name was Lincoln Hall. In 2006, the Australian climber reached the summit of the world's tallest mountain. But during the descent, altitude sickness overwhelmed him. His team believed he had died and left his body on the mountain. The next morning, another climbing group made an unbelievable discovery. The man who had been declared dead was moving. Lincoln Hall was sitting upright in the snow, disoriented, frostbitten, and barely conscious, but alive. Against every expectation, he was rescued and eventually walked down the mountain himself. Some people survive through strength, others survive through instinct, but sometimes survival seems to ignore every law of probability. And when that happens, it reminds us of something extraordinary. The human body and the human will may be far more resilient than we ever imagined. Which of these survival situations do you think you could have endured, and how? If stories of impossible survival fascinate you, subscribe to Decade Data, because the world is full of stories that seem impossible. And we're here to uncover them.